Hello guys. So I think I am audible. So let's start the live session. So welcome back to our channel. So this is your weekly Sunday DCA session. So today is the second day. So where we will DSA mastery roadmap. So we have one of the most important topics of the all interview preparations. So which is strings. So if you missed the day one, so which is arrays, so go and watch those first. So they are pinned in the playlist. So today we are going to solve more problems in strings and using 2 pointers as well. So which are frequently asked in interviews. So these are the questions that are being asked by some MNCs like Google's, Fangs, and TCS, Infosys, and Zoho as well. So they have asked it directly. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to solve all of them. So let us go into it. So before we code, so let me tell you why strings matter in the interviews. So every top tech company like FANG and product service companies asks at least one string problem in every round. So they test your loop logic and your edge cases thinking and your ability to work as a character by character. So I'm going to solve in C++. So if you are comfortable with Java, so this is also okay because just the framework will be changed, but the syntax mostly will be related to it. So let us see the problem statement. So the first one is we are going to reverse a string. So for example, if we take any problem, so let me open Notepad. So here, so for example, let us take a string like hello. So see here, this is the string. So the output we want is OLLEH. So we are going to reverse the string. So this is the problem statement. So this is the most fundamental string problem. So the idea is nothing but the classic 2 pointers. So we are going to use 2 pointers. So there is 1 pointer in this syntax. Like here, let us take this one. So for H, we are going to point it with the starting pointer and here a ending pointer. What we are going to do is we are going to iterate through the middle of the string. Until then, we are going to swap the first element and the last element. So in the first iteration, we will swap this first and last element, which is H and O. We will get O, E, L, L, H. So this pointer, which is pointed to H, will move to the second character E, and O, which is the last pointer, will be moved forward to the second last character, which is L. So we are going to swap these two. So now it is O, L, L, E, H. So when we come to middle, we'll stop it because this pointer will come to this pointer. So the starting pointer will be pointing to L and the ending pointer will be also pointing to L. So both of them will be pointing to this character. So we don't need to swap this. So as you can see, we have achieved the desired output. So this is the given question and this is the output. So following these steps, we are founded. So this is a 2 pointer approach. One pointer is pointing to H, which is the starting, and one pointer is pointing to the last element, which is O. So let us try to code it here. So let us get the string from the user. So string yes. So before that, so this is the basic structure of C++. So now I have get an input from the user. So let us create one function for solving this. So let us name it as, so we don't need to return anything. So we can use void here. So this is the return type. If you use void, we don't need to return anything. So reverse string, and we'll give input as a string. So I'll get the size. So s dot length, where I will store it in n. So let us create two pointer. So as you can see that here, this is the string. So where one pointer from starting, one pointer from ending. So as we know, the index starts from 0. And the last index we can say the length minus 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters are there. So if you take that as the index, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is the length and 4 is the last index. So we can say the length minus 1. So int, the starting index would be 0 and the ending index will be the n minus 1. So next thing is until when we are looping. So where this left pointer is less than the right pointer. So we can use it as an index. So if it comes both, we can say that left is equals to right. It is not less than the right. So we can use a while loop where start is less than n. So here we are going to swap it. So for swapping, we can use the inbuilt method, or else we can, if you want, you can also create one more method. So like void swap. So where you are going to swap two variables. So I'm going with the inbuilt method, or else we can use a temporary variable. So char use it and store it in another variable, so we can change it. So the starting index value will be stored with the last index, so string of n, and the ending will be stored, which is the starting value will be stored in a temporary variable. So s of end is temporary variable. So now after doing this, we have to, so after swapping these two, we have to move the pointers. So for that, start plus plus and minus minus. So let us, after getting input, first let us print the string, and after that let us reverse the string and again print the string. So let us put here backslash n for next line. So let us run. So let us give hello. So it's forward slash. Let us run again. So my string is hello. Oh, sorry. So here we are giving us a copy of the input. So where we have to give the address, it will change it. Okay, now as you can see, it is changing. So why it's showing the same output is because, so here if you give without pointing the reference value, it will create a new copy of the string. Instead, I am giving the address of the string so that it is changing it. So that's why before we get the same value, as you can see now we are getting the different output, which is the string is reversed. So let us run it again and give some more input like info Techiezz. As you can see, the string is being reversed. So this is how we are reversing a string using the two pointers. So if you have any doubts, just let me know. So I'll verify here. So let us move on to the next problem. So first problem we have solved is reversing a string. So one more, I am explaining this code. So this is the length of the string, and we are declaring two pointers. One is for starting and one is for ending. So where we will iterate through the middle value, and we will swap the first and the last index, and the second and the second last index. Like that we will swap and move the pointers here. So that's all. So let us move on to the next problem, which is we are going to check if a string is a palindrome or not. So what is a palindrome? So let's come here. So a string is a palindrome if it reads the same forward and backward. So for example, let us, it is race car. So I'll type it in a reverse order. As you can see, the last character is R, and this is A, and this is A, and this is C, and E, C, A, R. So when I reverse it, as you can see, I'm reversing the string. It will return the same output. So we can say as madam. So M A A D. So as you can see, MADAM. So it is a palindrome. Race car is a palindrome. So if I try to give hello, it should return false. Because if I reverse it, we'll get the output of OLLEH. See? But when I try to reverse these two strings, still return the same value. So as you can see for the previous problem, when we try to solve this, we had seen a pattern where we'll reverse the first and last character and this character. We are going to use the same two pointer approach. As you can see here, these characters are differing. So the first and last characters are differing, and this character first and last character are same, and the second and second last character are same. So here also R are same, A and A is same, C and C is same. So this is a middle character, so both point to the same pointers, so we don't need to check this. So as you can see, we are seeing a pattern here where the first and last index values are same. So we will iterate through this same method where to the first to middle, where we'll use two pointers, and if any character is differing, we can say it is not a palindrome. So let us try to solve it. So we are going to return it is true or false. It is a palindrome or not. So we'll use boolean as a return type, true or false. So is palindrome. We are giving string as an input. So we don't need to give a reference because we are changing here, but we don't change anything. We just return the boolean value. So let us create two pointers. So int, which is first the left pointer, which is 0, and the right pointer, which is s dot length minus 1. So now we are going to check until the middle value. So while left is less than right, so here we don't need to reverse anything, but we are going to check if this two pointers. So here, so let us take this example as madam. So where the indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is 0 pointer and 4th pointer, I am checking these two characters are same. If it is same, we will move to the next pointers. And if any one of them is changing, I will return false. Like for the hello here, for this hello, it is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, these two characters are changing. So we will return false there itself. We don't need to check any more these characters. We just check these two, and if it is false, we can return false. So if my string of left is not equals to my string of right pointer, so which is the last character, so there itself I can say it is not a palindrome. So now, but after checking each and every character, we will increment the left pointer and decrement the right pointer. So as you can see here, now after completing the entire loop, see, after completing the entire loop, if it is get out of the loop, we can say it is a palindrome. So now we can return true. So let us check. Don't need this. So now let us check it. So okay, there is an error because of here. So let's remove this. So after completing the loop, we are printing return true. So now let us check. Okay, now let us give madam. So here let us change this. We didn't call the function of palindrome. So now let us check. So let us check here. So madam is the input. So it's returning 1 because true. If it is 0, it is false. So we can use if else here. If it is true, which is if it is true, we can print it's a palindrome, or else it is not a palindrome. So let us give the input madam. So madam is a palindrome because if it, even if I reverse it, it is the same. So let us give hello to check for the false output. So it is not a palindrome. So there is one more brute force approach is there. So instead of using this pointer, so this complexity would be literally n by 2 because we are checking for the half of the character for the worst case. So n is the size, so n by 2 means we are iterating through the half string length, so which is it is n by 2. So we can do one more thing where it is the current string. I will store the reversed string in one variable like this, and I check if the current string is equals to the reversed string. If it is equals, we can return true or else false. This is the brute force approach for this solution, but we are not going to do this because we are using this two pointer approach, which is more efficient. So now let us move on to the next problem. So where we will count the vowels and consonants. So the problem statement is, given a string, we have to count the number of vowels and the consonants. So here we have to ignore the spaces and special characters. So for example, so here let us take an example of hello world. So this is the example. So let us count the vowels. So E, O and O. So where the vowel count is 3. And the remaining are consonants where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So this is one of the question which is asked in Techiezz NQT and Wipro and Infosys for a entry level developer or a programmer. So what we are going to do is, so this first, the step one is we are going to convert the entire string into lowercase, because we don't know that this may be H and this may be W will be in capital, or else the entire string may be in capital, we don't know. So for that we just need to count. So for that we are going to check with is alphabet or not. So the first step is we are going to convert the string into lowercase. So the step one is convert to lowercase. So the step two is, so for each character we have to check if it is alphabet or not, because the space does not count. The space is also count as a character. We don't want to count it as. So for that we are going to use, there is a method called is alphabet. So is alpha. So using this method we can count it, or else I'll create one more function where is it checking if it is alphabet or not. So after that, if it is true, so if it is a alphabet, the step 3, if it is alphabet, we have to count vowels and consonants. And finally, so if it is vowel, we have to increment the vowel counter, or else the consonant counter. So that's the approach. So let us write the program here. So here we are getting the input, so we don't need this. So let us check if it is alphabet or not. So we are going to again check return boolean value is alphabet. So for the character only we are going to check if it is alphabet or not. So we are giving character C. So as you can say here in C and C++, these characters are usually evaluated based on the ASCII values. So for example, the A is small a is 97 and capital A is 65 and small b is 98 and capital B is 66 and so on it goes on. So this is the starting point, and if you add with 25 characters from this number you can get the value of z. So using this character we can use greater than and less than operators because of the ASCII value. So I can say if my current character is greater than or equals to the character of A, it starts from A, and my character is n within Z, it is in the range of A to Z, I can say it is a alphabet, or else so we don't need to check else case, we can just simply return false. So this is the method we have created. There is an inbuilt method. So here instead of getting, if you use cin for a string, so I'll explain one more thing. So later that we'll get. So before that, let us create one function. So I'll create a pair for giving an output of this one is the first one will return the vowel count and second one is returning the constant count. So count vowel and consonant. So the one more thing is the naming convention should be always be what you have written to it. So it must mean something. You cannot give like function x, function y, function a. So my function name is count vowel and the consonant. So it should relate something. So string s. So first let us get this string length. So s dot length, or you can use s dot size as well for getting the length in C++. So after that, in vowel count is initially 0 and consonant count is initially 0 as well. So where we will iterate through the each and every character. So we can simply use for each loop. If so, we are iterating through it. So let us see the steps here. First, we have to convert it to the lowercase. So C, which is the character C equal to, we are converting it to lowercase using the inbuilt function to lower. So after converting into it lowercase, if we have to check, sorry, before that we have to check if it is a alphabet or not. So one thing, first let us convert the entire string into lowercase. So as in string, so C equals to lowercase of C. We'll converting entire string into lowercase. After that, we'll iterate through each and every character. If it is a alphabet character, if the character is an alphabet, we have to check if it is a vowel or not. So now we'll check this vowel. If my character is equals to A, E or IOU, so if it is A or E or IOU, this is a vowel. I can return true, or else we can simply return false. So I like to create more functions because I don't want to mess up with the lines. So if it is character and it is a vowel, I'll increment the vowel count. Or else, if it is only alphabet, if it is alphabet, but we are checking is a vowel. So if it is only alphabet and it is not a vowel, it should be consonant. So consonant will be incremented. Okay. So we don't need this extra for loop as well. We can just do it here. So for example, control. So just it should be there. So we don't need to take anything. If you want, you can just do it inside this for loop. So I'll let it be there. See out. Vowel count. So the vowel count is dot first, which will return the. If I use dot first, the pair first value will be written. So here we have to return a pair, return vowel count and consonant count. So the next thing is consonant count. So this is, so let's just try to print it. So for the hello world, so as you can think that the output must be 3, but here the vowel count says 2 and the consonant count is 3. Why? Because if you use cin for getting input as a string, it will get the string until it reaches a space or a next line. Here, if it is reaches the string should be hello. So let us check that. So cout, yes, backslash n on next line. So if I run it, let us give hello world. As you can see, the string is only getting up to hello. So what we can do is we can use getLine here in in C++. So as for the Java, you can use next line. So if I use getLine here and give hello world, it will take the enter. So as we can see, the vowel count is 3 and consonant count is 7. So let us give like this, which is capital case, to check if the output is correct or not. Hello world. So let us move on to the next problem. So let's see what's the next problem. So we have to check if two strings are anagram. So what is anagram? So an anagram is nothing but, for example, there are two strings. It contains same amount of characters. So like listen and silent. So I can form this characters with this word and this characters with this word. So that is the anagram. Silent and listen. So one S, one I, and one L, and one E, one N, and one T. So by seeing this problem, you might get the idea from here. If it have the same amount of L and same amount of I and same count of S and T and E and N, so like this, we can say that if they contain the same characters with the same frequencies, where we are calling it as frequencies, we can return true. So that is the optimal approach here. So let us see the basic methods. So there are here two approaches are there. So the first approach is we have to sort these two words. Okay, if I sort this word, we'll get E, I, and L, S, T. So this is how it is going to be sorted. And if you sort this thing as well, you'll get the same thing. So let us copy this and paste this. So here we can check these two characters are same, these much characters are same, and if this is differing, we can simply return false. So this is the first approach we are going to do. So we are going to first sort it. So is anagram. So it should return boolean. So there are two strings here, string 1 and string 2. We'll get two inputs. So here S1 and S2. We are getting two strings for the input, and first thing we'll check is if this length are differing, I can say it is not a anagram there itself. So first check if S1 dot length is not equals to S2 dot length. We can there itself say it is not a valid anagram. So here we are going to use sort method. So I'll name it as sort. So for the differentiation, it will be help us. So in C++, there is a method, inbuilt sorting method. So S1 dot begin and S1 dot end. So where these are two pointers, which is pointing to starting and ending index. And I'll sort the second string as well, S2 dot begin and S2 dot end. So finally, after sorting these two, we have to check these two strings are equals. We can simply use dot equals method in Java, or we can simply in C++ we can return S1 double equals S2. So that's it. So if it is same, it will return true. If it is not same, it will return false. So this is a sorting method, but it is much slower than the next method, which is a optimal method. So if is anagram of S1 and S2, see out, is a valid anagram. or else we can say it is not a valid anagram. So here let us try to run it and give two inputs. So here this is it's silent. The second one is listen. So it is a valid anagram set. So let us give different values. So car and race. So it is not a valid anagram. So let us try to do it in a faster way. So which is a preferred way where we can use a map to store the frequency, or we can use frequency array as well. So this is the preferred way for the interviews because it is much more optimal than this sorting method. Boolean is anagram. We can just name is just as is anagram. And same here. First check if the length is same or not. If not, it is not a valid anagram. So now the approach is changes here. So here let us create one frequency map with the characters of 26. So where there are 26 characters, let us initialize it. So for each and every character I'll store it. So for the first index, 0th index, it will have the value of A. For the first index it will have the value of B. For the 25th index it will store the count of Z. So for each and every character in S1, I am going to store it in the array of frequency of C minus the character A count. So we need two frequency counting characters because for the string 1 and string 2, forgot here. So in frequency 2, so it is frequency 1. So for character, each and every character in S2, we are going to count it and store it in frequency 2 table. So the structure would be, so let me explain here. There is the array. So let us take it as so like this. So initially all of them is 0. So this points to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so here the 0th index points to A and 1 index points to B. So if I found, so for example, we don't need this. So let us take it as a cat, or let us take it as cat. So first, as I said before, the ASCII value of C is 97. If I subtract with the minus A, so which is, sorry, for the A is 97 and it should be 100. It should be 99 for C. And if I subtract with the value of A, which is 97, it will return 2. So for the second index 0, 1, 2, in this index, I am going to increase the count. So this count will be incremented and it will be 1. For A, it is 97. So 97 minus 97 is 0. So where the 0th index value will be incremented by 1. For B, it is 98. So the first index, which is B, will be incremented by 1. So because this value is 1. So for again this B, so 98 minus 98 is 1. The 0, 1 index will be incremented by 1. So as you can see, A's count is 1 and B's count is 2 and C's count is 1. So this is a frequency table using the array. So after storing it, we are checking with each and every characters, okay, for 0 to 26. If any frequency is mischanging, we can return false or else we can return true. So this is how, this is the optimal way, which is O of n plus m. So n refers to the length of C and m refers string 1 and m refers to the length of string 2. So here let's remove this sort. So that's it, just run. So let us give same input, silent, listen. So it's a valid anagram set, and let us run it again with the same race and car. So if I use char, it should return anagram because 1C, 1A, 1R, 1E. So car and race would be different. So it is not a valid anagram set. So let us move to the next problem, which is we are going to find the first non-repeating character in a string. Okay, so let us take a string. So let us take a string. So let me take it. Like, let's take AA, BB, C and D. So the non-repeating characters are C and D. And the first non-repeating character is C. So we can use the same method as before. So where we are counting this, counting the frequency and store it in the array, and we'll iterate through each and every character. And if we found any character with the count of 1, we will immediately return it. We don't need to check anymore because it can be E or F like this, but they are asking for first non-repeating character. So this is the first non-repeating character because I previously stored the count of it. We don't need to check any of this. So for that, let us create one more method. So we are going to get the character as the input, output. So first non-repeating character in a string. So let us get the length. So int n equal to h dot length. So where I'll create one frequency table of size 26. I'll initialize the values with zeros because I don't want to get any garbage values. So I'll iterate through each and every characters like before and store it in frequency of my character minus a plus plus. And one more thing, that this method is only work for only lowercase characters. If you want to check with both lower and uppercase characters, you could use 256. Okay, for 256, it will store all the values, so we don't need here. And for checking, instead of using this 254 where it will create 256 characters, we can use map where we'll store the character in the integer. So for character in a string, the same method, frequency of C++, we don't need to subtract it here for the map. I'm storing it. So you can use hash map or hash table in Java, but I'm using another map in C++. So after storing the count, these, which is where we have previously used. So this array storing method and this another map are same, but this is a low size where we don't need to initialize with each and every characters. So then we can store it. So, but for here, I would like to go through a normal array because we don't need to go any complex. So because the question says that it is only the constraint says all of the characters are lowercase. So if they say like that, you can go to this approach because it is a smaller approach. So after we storing the count, we'll again iterate through the characters. For int I0, I less than 20 is I less than n, I plus plus. We are going to check the each and every character count. So if we have to check the frequency, we are going to check the frequency of the character. So which is s of I. If it is 1, we can return s of I. Okay. So we are checking. So if there is no non-repeating character, we can return 0 or null here. So a string, get the string, and we'll return the character first, non-repeating character in the string. So it shows some error. I think there's some error in the compiler. I think there is some error. So let us just remove this and try. So there is must be some error here. So first, let us name it as first char and a string, and after that I'll use the map for storing a character and a int. And for the first pass, I'm storing the frequency count. So frequency of the character plus plus, and for the pass two, if the frequency of the current character is equal to exactly 1, we will return the character. If we don't any character, we'll return null here. See out. Yes, we found this method. So there must be some compiler issue. So let us give it A, B, B, C, C, D, E, E, and F. As you can see, D is the first non-repeating character. So we got D as the out. So let us give SS, DD, F of GG. We got nothing because there is no unique character here. So it returned null here. So null is, we don't have any value. So that's all. Let's move on to the next problem. So the next problem is string compression. So it's one of the questions that is asked in Google and Microsoft as well, and Zoho as well. So if you are preparing for Zoho, this question may be asked as well. So make sure you are following with it. So let's see the problem statement here, that they will give a string like A, B, B, and C, C like this. For example, let's take this string. So first A is the character, and the count, as for the count, there are 3 characters. So it is compressed to A3 times and B 2 times. So let's see. So B 2 times and C 1 time. But if I give an example like ABC, we should simply return ABC. We shouldn't add A1, B1 and C1. Okay, we will simply return the original one. So this is the question that tests your ability to track run on the consecutive characters. So we will scan from left to right and count consecutive matches. So here, this is the question here. So in this, we'll start from the index 0, which is count 1. Okay. Then we will check if this previous character and next character is same. If it is same, we'll increase the count. And if it is again same, we'll increase the count. So the count is currently 3. So let's else we can just do it here. Currently the count is 3 for A, because this up to this first initially we'll start from 1 and 2 and 3, and if it is not matches, we can just return, add the string with the previous character A and the current character, which is 3, and we'll reset the count to again 1. So the current character with next character, which is count, will become 2 because both are equal, but here it is changing. So we'll add B plus 2. Again we'll come and it will become C and 1 because there is no next character. because it changes, this count is already resetted to 1. So when a different character is added, we'll append this character and count to the result. And finally, after the loop done, so, and one more thing, don't forget to append the last run where the C, because if this condition fails, only you are adding. But when it reaches C, if there is any string there, you must add this C and 1. So finally return the result, and only if it is, if this result is shorter than the original, or else we can return the original string. So for example, this is the original string and this is a shorter version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here it is same here, but it is using characters for that. So let us try to run it. So let us create one more method. So we'll return a string anyway. So we are not changing the current string. So string, we'll name it as compress. So now if, so let us check for the base case. If the string is empty, we can just simply return empty string, or else we can say yes. So let us create one result string with initialize with the empty string. We can add the characters later, and let us initialize the count 1. So we are going to iterate from initial index 0 to s dot length and I plus plus. So here what we are checking checking if my current character is equals to previous character. So where we are starting is, we are starting from index 1. So let us make this index as 1, and we are checking with the previous character. So if my character, or else my string of I, which is the current character, is equals to s of I minus 1, refers to the previous character. If these two are same, I will just increment the count. I will not do anything. So if it is not same, which is else case, in the result I will add the, first we have to add the previous character, or so it's just res. So result plus equals to s minus other previous character, and we have to add the count. So if you try to add simply count, it will throw some error. So for that we have to convert into string by using toString method and add it. And after adding it, we will reset the count to 1 again. And finally we'll check that. So for that, for the previous case, we see the C doesn't store here. So now we'll store the back character, that is the character which is not stored there. So result will be added with s dot back. So we have to append the last run, so the which is the loop doesn't catch. And finally the count. So it's, I'm adding it. So plus equals to s dot back, and result plus equals to s dot count. Sorry, to string of count. And if the result length is less than the s dot length, we'll return the result, or else we can just simply move to the next one. Like for example, return. I'm going to use ternary operator. If my result dot length is less than the given string dot length, I'm going to return result. If it is greater, I'll return the current string. So I don't want to get these inputs. So I'll just remove this and directly call it compress like triple A, double B and C in line. So for this thing, we can just simply return ABC. So it's coming here, but this is not added. So let us see the problem where we have missed. So string, if it is empty, we'll return the current string, and string result is empty, and we have initialize the count, and I equal to 1, s dot length, and I plus plus. And if s of I is equals to s of I minus 1, which is the previous character, we'll increment the count. If not, we'll add the result with the previous character and the count and reinitialize the count. I'm returning it inside the loop. So that's the issue. After completing the loop, we should return it. So now let's check. So it's compressing, but because of this function, it's not compressing. So just return result and check. So I think this causes the issue. So let's remove it. So here it is adding A3 and B2, but I am not adding the final values. So which is the last two characters. So here So which is result. So for before that, I have added it inside the loop, which leads to the error. So now let's run. Okay, now it's working. So if this dot length is less than s dot length, we'll return result, or else we can just return yes. So we need less than or equals for this case, because if the same length, we can just compress it, or else we can not compress it. So here it is A3, B2 and C1 for the same input. So which is A1, B1, C1, we don't need it because we are compressing it where we need same length or lesser length. So for that only we are doing on this purpose. So we have solved this problem. So A3, B2, C1, we found the output, and for the same output ABC, we got the same output, which is again still ABC. So let us move on to the next problem. So let us, it's a one of more advanced problem where we are going to found the maximum sum subarray of the size of K. So in this array, we are going to use sliding window approach, but it's not on only strings, but it is, we are going to solve one subarray, which we previously didn't cover in the last session. So let us try to solve it. So let's take an array of the character like 2, 3, 4, 1 and 5. So this is the array where the character value is 3. So in this array, this is the window size. We have to add any of the 3 characters like 2, 3, 4, which is 5 plus 4, 9, and 3, 4, 1, which is 8, and 4 plus 1 plus 5, which is 10. So the maximum sum is 10, which is 3, which is 4, 1 and 5. So this is also the one of the question which is asked in TCS NQTs and Infosys exams. So here we are going to use a sliding window approach like this, and we'll move here and here like that. We'll move the window to found the value. So let us solve that problem. So we are going to return the maximum value. So max sum subarray. So there is a vector and the maximum sum, which is k, the maximum window, which is k. So let us take the array size. N is m dot nums dot size, and if n is less than k, the size, we cannot do the window because they are asking for the maximum window of k, but we cannot do that window size. So now let us compute the sum of the first window. So for that, I initialize window. So the window starts from the 0th index. So for iterating using for loop, int I is 0, and we know that the window size is k, I less than k and I plus plus. So just add, initially just add the window sum. So let us initialize one variable to count the window sum. So window sum will be added with the current number in the number in the array, or we can say vector. And let us initialize max sum. Initially we'll add it with the window sum. So this is the current window value. So first we are calculating with this, we are calculating 2 plus 3 plus 4. Then we'll iterate with 3 and 4 and etc. with the next for loops. So for initially I value is k and I less than n, I plus plus. And we will add window sum with the current value of nums of I. And we have to check on condition that my window sum, which will be subtracted with the value of the previous value we have added. So first, so this is the size. So this, if we subtract this value with the index of k, we will know that we'll subtracting this character, and we'll first it is 2 3 4, and we will add 2 3 4 1 and remove the 2, subtract with the value of 2, and we'll get the value of this sum, and we'll add these values and remove this 3 and 3 4 plus 1 plus 5 like that. So for that we have to subtract the window sum with nums of I minus k. So the where the window size is there, and finally calculate the max sum. Maximum sum equal to the maximum value from maximum sum and window sum. Finally, after iterating through it, we'll return the maximum sum. So this window sliding window approaches, we'll first calculate the pre-sum of this window 2 3 4 and this 3 4 1 and 4 1 5. For that we'll add these 4 values and remove the previous value, and add these 4 value and remove this previous value. Like that we'll add and return the maximum sum. So just so let us check here. Vector 2 3 4 1 and 5. So this is the value, maximum subarray, this value of 3. Let's run it. So we got the maximum output as 10, which is 4 plus 1 plus 5. So we have seen more than 5 problems today. So let's see those. So we started from reverse string and palindrome, and vowel count and this anagram and first non-repeating character and maximum subarray and as well as compressing a string. So we have seen around 8 problems today. So from these problems, if you try to solve it and make sure that you will practice every day so that you can solve in any competitions it comes out or any interviews. So that's all for this. So let's wrap up this today's session. So today was heavy that we have solved 8 problems. So with strings, 2 pointers and one sliding window problem. So for the 2 pointers, we are using reverse string and palindrome check, and for counting pairs. So for the fixed sliding window, we have solved the maximum subarray, and we can also do it find all anagrams as well. So we'll see that next Sunday. So where we'll come with next topic of problems and solve it. So that's all for this. So if you have any doubts, just let me know in the comments so that I'll do my best to solve it in the next slide.